Tuesday morning to you. Can you do me a favor this morning? Can you just give yourself some love? Just hug on yourself this morning and tell yourself how amazing you are. You do it for everybody else, but do you ever hug on yourself and tell yourself how amazing you are? Do that for a second. Just give yourself some love. Listen, I'm amazing. I'm beautiful. I'm all that. And even more than that. Just do that this morning. Miss Melinda, good morning. Just give yourself some love this morning. Why? For no other reason, just because of who you are. Just because you deserve it. Just because you're amazing. Just because you're beautiful. Listen, life is gonna life, and sometimes chaos shows up, and sometimes you just need to remind yourself of how amazingly beautiful you are. That's right, Shakira. Sometimes you just need to look in the mirror and go, girl, you're amazing. Girl, you're awesome. Girl, you are beautiful. Like Mary J's song, Good Morning, Gorgeous. Come on now. Good morning, gorgeous. That's right. This morning is all about you loving you. Yesterday, we talked about the chaos in our life. This morning, this ain't even what I'm supposed to talk about. I had something else I was going to talk about this morning, but I just got on this morning. As soon as I hit the live button, I got to go back and change the title because really, this is about you loving you. That life is going to life. Life is going to create chaos. Life is going to create confusion. Life is going to disappoint. Life is going to bring you challenges. Listen, it's going to do all of that. But in the midst of it all, Miss Melinda, in the midst of it all, Miss Marjorie, in the midst of it all, Tanya, in the midst of it all, Shakira, good morning, gorgeous. You just got to remind yourself of how God sees you. God sees you as this amazing, beautiful woman that he created, one of a kind. Listen to that, one of a kind. Do you know that things that are one of a kind are rare? They're so rare that they are priceless. Let me say that one more time. They are priceless when they are one of a kind. Lawrence and I visited London with some friends a few years ago, and we toured Buckingham Palace. And in the palace were the Queen's jewels. Let me say that again. In the palace were the Queen's jewels. You could actually walk around this plastic container that was holding the Queen's jewels. I'm talking about beautiful rubies and diamonds and beautiful sapphires and beautiful yellow diamonds, just amazing jewels, much like the earrings that I have on now that are sapphires, different color sapphires. But all of these amazing, beautiful jewels just there in this container for you to see. Yeah, we won't even talk about how the queen got them. That's a whole different video. But anyway, they were there. Beautiful, so beautiful, just sparkling. And you're looking at them going, that's a one-of-a-kind tiara. That's a one-of-a-kind bracelet. That's a one-of-a-kind necklace. Those are one-of-a-kind earrings. And in your mind, you're trying to calculate what would be the price of a one-of-a-kind bracelet, of a one-of-a-kind pair of earrings, of a one-of-a-kind tiara, of a one-of-a-kind ring. What would be the price of that? Can I tell you what that price is? Can I tell you what that price is? It's priceless. You can't put a price on one of a kind. You're one of a kind, Miss Melinda. You're one of a kind, Marjorie. You can't put a price on one of a kind. They went on to tell us that as we toured and looked at these amazing jewels, that they're not even insured, because to insure them with an insurance company would mean that you would have to put a price on them. Can I tell you this morning, Miss Shakira, you're uninsurable. You're uninsurable. Listen, we can't even put a price on your life. God says, listen, I don't know how much it would cost to replace Miss Melinda. I don't know how much it would cost to replace Marjorie. I don't know how much it would cost to replace Shakira. I don't know how much it would cost to replace Tanya. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to love this one-of-a-kind woman that I created. There's nobody like you. And if that's true, if God knows that number of hairs on your head and what your hair color really is, if God knows your fingerprint and how it really looks, because your mama don't even know your fingerprint. Let's just be honest. Your mama doesn't even know your fingerprint. Your daddy doesn't even know your toe print, but God does. You're so priceless to him that even in the midst of your chaos, I know you feel like sometimes God has you on D&D. God does not have you on D&D. Here's the problem. You don't call him. You don't call him. You're so busy trying to show up, trying to smile, trying to hold it all together, even though inside you feel like you've fallen apart. See, God can't do nothing when you're showing up, when you're smiling, and when you're acting like you got it all together. God can't show up in that. But it's when you fall apart that God shows up for you because you're priceless. And so sometimes what ends up happening to us is we feel like we're God. I'm just going to be honest. I don't talk to y'all before I talk to myself. Sometimes you feel like you God because you're everybody's answer. You're so much on automatic pilot, you don't even know your own emotions when they show up. Golly, y'all about to make me scream. You're so much on automatic pilot that you're numb and you don't even know when your own emotions show up. But God still calls you priceless. But God still says you're the apple of his eye. But God still says that you're a woman after his own heart. Even though you don't even treat yourself that way. Even though you run yourself into the ground, even though you talk to yourself any kind of way, even though you went from being on your A game to feeling like you on your F game, but you still showing up for everybody else, even though you running past empty, you know how that hand in your car gets to E when it's on empty, but see yours looking like this. It's way past empty. Even though you run yourself ragged, even though you cry in the shower asking yourself questions, why am I still here? Even though you have those thoughts of wrapping yourself around a tree because you're so exhausted. Even though sometimes you curse God, maybe I'm talking about me, because you feel like he's not even answering you. God still says, yes, I know you. I love you, and you're still priceless. Here's the thing. God has promised you peace. God has promised you joy. God has promised you all of these things, but you still holding on to the weight. Yep, you're still holding on to it. You're still holding on to the trauma from your childhood. You still holding on from the baggage from your first marriage. You still holding on from the thoughts of those people bullying you when you were young. You're still holding on to all of that. And here's the thing, you can't outrun your own negative thoughts. You can't. And they show up more in midlife. Here's why. Can I tell you why that shows up more in midlife? Because you're exhausted. The very thing that you use to keep yourself going all the time, you've depleted yourself in midlife. You were running in your 20s, you were running in your 30s, you were running in your 40s, and here you are in your 50s, and you're on empty. You're depleted. So the very thing you use to keep you going, you don't have it anymore. Sis, it's gone. And so now here you are trying to figure out, why am I feeling this way? Why am I anxious? Why am I depressed? Right? Why am I sad? I know I should feel happy, but I can't get there. Why am I crying all the time? Why do I want to be alone? Why do I want to curse everybody out? Yeah, you're there, sis. Even in all of that, God says, you're priceless. I know you. But if only you would sit, and if only you would allow him to take the weight off of you, so that you can have the clarity in the midst of your chaos. Here's the thing. Life is going to keep life, and I keep telling y'all that. It is. But you don't have to be a part of the negativity as life. You can go from chaos to clarity. You can go from not having peace to having peace. Listen, I reminded y'all last week that even in the midst of a storm, Jesus was asleep. Why? Because he was at peace. Wouldn't it be nice to have peace like that? Even in the midst of a storm, I can have peace. Even in the midst of people cussing me out, I can still be at peace. Even in the midst of being laid off on my job, I can still have peace. Even in the midst of having a diagnosis that I don't want to hear, I can still have peace. Even in the midst of taking care of aging parents, I can still be at peace. Even in the midst of teaching my children how to treat me, I'm still at peace. Even in the midst of going back to school because I need to have a new job, I need to get a new way because the old way that I was doing things is not working for me anymore. I don't identify as that person anymore. I have a new identity now. Even in the midst of transition, I can have peace. Isn't that amazing? That you're so priceless that God can give you peace. That is not even what I was going to talk about this morning. Why am I saying that now? Because as we transition in midlife, it really is all about you. It really is. It's about you, Melinda. It's about you, Marjorie. It's about you, Tanya. It really is all about you. As people say, giving honor to God, who's the head of my life, is really not about me, it's about God. No, it really is about you. Because here's the thing, God can't get done what God created you to do if it's not about you. So as you go through this day, listen, I want you to literally have a conversation in your head. I need you to flip the script of the conversations that you have in your head. And the conversation of today is I'm priceless. God created me in and of myself. There is nobody more amazing than me because I'm one of a kind. I'm priceless. I'm one of a kind. I'm priceless. I'm so priceless. Listen, I'm so priceless, I'm almost arrogant and conceited about it. But more than that, I'm confident about it. That's how priceless I am to God. That even in the midst of my transition, God calls me priceless. God calls me amazing. And so this morning, I want you to remember that as you leave your house and you go on your day, driving your car, yep, I'm priceless. Getting your coffee, yep, I'm priceless. Sending your meeting with your coworkers that you wish you had a different job, I'm priceless. Making phone calls, I'm priceless. Talking to your children, yep, y'all treat me any kind of way sometimes, but guess what God says? I'm priceless. That's your mantra for today, sis. That's your affirmation for today. I'm priceless. Listen, share this with a sister you know who needs to be reminded that she's priceless. Listen, we all have challenges in our lives. And sometimes we just need a coach to come along and cheer us on to remind us of how priceless we really are. You got this. You're priceless. God loves you. He hadn't forgotten about you. That just as those jewels belong to the Queen or now the King of England, and they can't insure them because to insure them means to put a price on them. Listen, God says you're just as priceless. All right, share this with a sister who needs to be reminded of how beautiful and amazing and priceless she is. Until tomorrow morning, I'll see you again with another daily spice. That's Spice. With another daily spice. Remember, you are priceless.